Let's try a Duke Ellington hit. That's a kind of unusual thing to play on fingerstyle guitar, but by now I think everything in the world has been done on solo guitar. Somebody was telling me about a classical guitar player who was playing a version of Purple Haze, which probably, fortunately, I haven't heard yet. But I figure if that kind of thing can be done, then we're bound to be able to try a Duke Ellington big band tune on the guitar. The one we're going to do is possibly the Duke's most famous hit, a song called Take the A Train, actually written by Billy Strayhorn, who was the big arranger along with Duke for the Ellington Orchestra in all its greatest years. Take the A Train, of course, you non-New Yorkers, you poor people, may not know that the A Train is part of the subway system there. The A Train was the fastest way to get up to Harlem. The way I play this, I start off with a slow introduction, which in New York parlance could, I suppose, be called Take the Double A Train, which is not the express, but the slow train. And we're going to have a lot of different things to look at with it. But the main thing to remember about this, we're back to the swing stuff we talked about, big band music, dance music. Think about the kind of dancing that was done one time at the Savoy Ballroom up in Harlem. And we're going to have to work on this one, but I think it's going to be worth it because it's one of the great pieces of American music, really. Take the A Train. There's a couple of interesting stories, actually, about performances of this tune. One, of course, had to do with Lawrence Welk, the Champagne music man, and they got a version of this and played it on the Lawrence Welk show, but he couldn't believe that Take the A Train was the correct title, so he introduced it as Take a Train. But the one that I like best is actually thinking of international versions of the song. You know, like there was a German version of the Beatles' I Want to Hold Your Hand. The Canadian version of this song is actually called Take the Train, eh? Oh yeah, that's enough of that. We'll look at what we're actually doing when we play this tune. Now, where you look at my left hand when I'm starting out here, the first chord is just a normal C chord. After that, the second chord is an interesting one harmonically. It's sort of a whole tone chord that you would get just by playing a scale of whole tones, but it's just made that way, just hardly moving from a C chord, and you're getting the whole melody that way. But if you were to look at the right hand while that's going on, you would see an awful lot. And in fact, what we really have to start out with when we learn this tune is noticing this bass pattern. And that's all done on the fifth string, the thumb and the index finger. You go thumb, index, thumb, index, index, thumb. And then you learn how to do this way. And then the whole idea of the tune really is that once you get to where you can do that with your thumb and index, you have to then start to learn how to play with your other two fingers. We'll keep watching the right hand for a second here. The ring finger and middle finger have to play the melody. And once you've learned that, actually, you've learned about 80% or 90% of what you're going to have to learn in the tune. If we come down now and look at the left hand, watch what's happening while that's going on. At first, I'm just holding the C chord. And then when we make that change there, which is where we get on the melody changing, the chord changes just by moving your index finger over from the second string to the third. And then we go on. Actually, that second pull-off I almost never get. You can just go like that. And then there's one other thing to look at with the left hand, this last phrase in the melody. That one takes a bit of practice. You start here, hammer on the two high strings open, open third, and then we go down with a pull-off from the fourth to the third fret of the fourth string. But when we get to the third fret, we want to have a half bar with our index finger so we can then cover the second string also on the third fret. The rest of the playing, the bridge and so on, is much more straightforward. And when I do the improvisation, the only things to really look out for that are unusual would be that second chord. As I've already said, that's a whole tone chord, so you can see where the notes are that I would play in that. You'd have a scale that would be C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, B flat, and C. And you can use all those notes. The other thing that I do in this one, and that is a good thing to do when you're improvising on swing tunes, is that you don't need to always be playing quarter notes in the bass. Sometimes you can drop it and do half notes and go half as fast, and you can get a great swing feeling. Well, I kind of picked that up from Joseph Spence, even though he plays a completely different style of music. Okay, at this point, I think we're ready to try to learn this. Obviously, what you're going to have to do is really practice that first business before you go much further with it. But let's look at the split screen now, and I'll see if I can play very slowly, Take the A Train. There's your right hand stuff. and the melody. And down we go. Melody again. And the bridge. And the D. And back to the melody. And now I'll improvise. Let's go back to the melody again. Bridge. And the melody once more.